Life aboard a US Navy aircraft carrier runs on food on board of an aircraft carrier. Every day, a crew of over 5,000 men and women is served around 17,000 to 18,000 meals. 3 main meals and an extra late-night option known as midrats keep operations running around the clock, ensuring that no one serving on alternate or night shifts goes hungry. The carrier's galleys are among the busiest spaces on the ship, rivaling the flight deck in energy and coordination. Sailors line up in long but fast-moving queues, collecting everything from hamburgers, fried chicken and spaghetti to eggs, pancakes and cereal at breakfast. The goal is not only to feed thousands, but to keep morale high in an environment where the nearest restaurant might be hundreds of miles away. Feeding such a vast crew is not just about cooking, it's about managing an entire supply system that mirrors a small city at sea. Every dish served depends on a chain of logistics stretching from shore warehouses to the ship's deep storage decks. Before any meal reaches a sailor's tray, it must first make its journey onto the carrier, often across open ocean and unpredictable weather. Getting food aboard an aircraft carrier is one of the most demanding supply efforts in the entire Navy. These massive vessels function as floating cities, and keeping them stocked with enough provisions to feed 5,000 people 3 times a day is a mission that requires constant coordination. The process, known as underway replenishment, ensures that even while the carrier is thousands of miles from shore, the crew never runs short of food or essentials. When the ship is in port, loading food is relatively straightforward. Trucks from naval supply depots arrive with pallets of frozen meats, canned goods, dry stores, and fresh produce. Using cranes, forklifts, and loading ramps, these supplies are transferred onto the carrier's lower decks, where supply teams organize and store them in refrigerated compartments and dry rooms. At sea, however, replenishment becomes far more intricate. Specialized supply vessels called fast combat support ships or replenishment oilers approach the carrier while both are moving at a steady speed. The 2 ships connect through heavily tensioned cables that carry pallets of supplies in metal baskets. This delicate transfer takes place over the open ocean, often with waves crashing below, demanding expert timing and steady hands from both crews. For items that need faster or more flexible delivery, helicopters perform vertical replenishment operations. The helicopters hover between the ships, carrying nets of supplies slung beneath them, dropping off loads that are quickly secured and moved below deck. A single aircraft carrier can store over 1.5 million pounds of food, enough for roughly 2 to 3 months without resupply. Each replenishment typically brings in 400,000 to 600,000 pounds of goods, including thousands of pounds of meat, fish and vegetables, 20,000 dozen eggs, 15,000 gallons of milk, and 30,000 loaves of bread. Carriers usually receive new supplies every 7 to 10 days, depending on mission demands and distance from their support fleet. Every operation must be synchronized with precision to prevent interruptions to flight schedules and maintain the ship's readiness. Once the food is safely aboard, the next challenge begins: storing and managing it in a way that keeps it fresh, accessible, and ready for the next round of cooking. Once the massive quantities of food are loaded aboard, the real challenge shifts to storage. An aircraft carrier operates for weeks or even months without returning to port, so the way it stores food determines how well its crew will eat throughout deployment. Deep within the ship, several decks below the hangar and flight operations, lies a complex network of storerooms, refrigerators, and freezers, collectively known as the carrier's floating pantry. Every category of food has its designated area. Dry storerooms house staples like rice, pasta, coffee, cereals, canned goods, and flour. These spaces are temperature controlled, cool and ventilated to prevent mold, humidity, or pests. Some dry items can last many months, while others are rotated regularly to maintain freshness. Navy supply personnel are meticulous in checking expiration dates, rotating stock, and labeling every crate to ensure older supplies are used first. Next are the chill boxes, refrigerated compartments that preserve perishable items such as fruits, vegetables, dairy products, and meats. These rooms are kept between 33 degrees Fahrenheit and 41 degrees Fahrenheit, a range ideal for slowing spoilage and maintaining quality. Perishable vegetables might last 2 weeks, while milk and dairy are replaced roughly every 5 to 7 days. Further below are the deep freeze rooms, massive refrigerated vaults that hold frozen meats, fish, and bakery products. These are kept at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or colder, allowing supplies to remain edible for several months. Because frozen items form the core of the ship's long-term food security, they occupy the largest portion of the storage space. Access to these areas is tightly controlled. Supply personnel and culinary specialists track every pound of food through an inventory system that records how much is issued, consumed, or nearing its expiration. Temperature gauges are checked constantly, and backups are in place to prevent spoilage in case of a power issue. These spaces might seem quiet compared to the bustling flight deck above, but they are just as vital. Without the silent efficiency of the storage teams and their carefully maintained conditions, thousands of sailors would find their next meal uncertain. From here, ingredients make their way to the heart of the ship, the galleys, where the true art of naval cooking begins. Cooking aboard an aircraft carrier is an unending operation that fuels every heartbeat of the ship. With a crew of over 5,000 people, the carrier's galleys operate like the kitchens of a small city, except this city floats, vibrates, and sometimes pitches violently in heavy seas. Every day, the culinary specialists, known as CSS, prepare more than 17,000 meals, ensuring that no matter the hour, someone on board can find a hot meal waiting. The main galley, located on one of the lower decks, serves as the hub of this enormous effort. It is an industrial kitchen in every sense, filled with towering ovens, deep fryers, grills, steam-jacketed kettles, and mixers large enough to prepare food in hundreds of servings per batch. Surrounding it are smaller galleys and serving stations placed strategically near major work zones, such as the flight deck and maintenance areas, allowing sailors to eat close to their posts. The cooking day begins long before sunrise. Dozens of culinary specialists report early to begin breakfast preparations, while others remain cleaning or setting up for the next meal. On average, about 100 to 150 culinary specialists work in shifts that keep the galleys running around the clock. The bakery, a crucial part of the operation, produces thousands of loaves of bread, pastries, and desserts daily, keeping morale high and meals complete. Electric power generated by the ship's nuclear reactors, or steam turbines, fuels every oven and stove. Steam, a byproduct of the power system, is also used extensively for boiling, heating, and sterilizing kitchen equipment. Large kettles, sometimes holding over 80 gallons of stew or soup, allow cooks to prepare massive portions at once. These galleys are designed for both efficiency and endurance, capable of sustaining full operations, even during combat conditions or rough weather.
What's up, brother? How y'all doing? USS.
Each meal is planned carefully using the ship's inventory database, which tracks what is available and when it expires. Culinary specialists design menus that rotate through proteins, vegetables, and starches to keep meals balanced and appealing. Vegetarian and special diet options are always included. Before each meal, teams retrieve ingredients from the chill boxes or freezers, weigh them precisely, and begin cooking in synchronized groups. some handling meats, others focusing on sides, sauces, and desserts. Cleanliness is constant. Every utensil and surface is sterilized with steam and hot water, and food safety inspections are routine. The crew's health depends on it, and any lapse could endanger operations. Despite the industrial scale, there is pride in the work. Many of these cooks are trained chefs who volunteered for culinary service, and their precision matches that of the flight deck crews above them. From sunrise to midnight, the cycle of cooking never stops. The galleys pulse with motion, clatter, and the aroma of sizzling food that weaves through the ship's passageways, reminding every sailor, no matter how far from home, that the next meal is already on its way. Serving meals aboard an aircraft carrier is a carefully choreographed process that mirrors the precision of naval operations. With more than 5,000 sailors and aviators depending on the galley each day, every meal must be served efficiently, safely, and on time. The system is so well tuned that even amid high-tempo operations, the ship's rhythm never skips a beat. The main dining spaces, known as the mess decks, are located near the center of the ship and span a large portion of the lower decks. These areas are divided into sections to accommodate the enlisted crew, officers, and chief petty officers, each with their own dining environment. The crew's mess is the largest and busiest, serving thousands daily in rotating meal shifts. The chief's mess and wardroom, officers' dining area, are smaller but more refined, offering slightly different menus and table service managed by assigned culinary specialists. Each meal period lasts about 90 minutes, and the serving process runs like clockwork. Sailors enter the mess decks in shifts aligned with their work schedules. Those on flight or engineering duty often have priority so they can quickly return to their posts. During each meal window, roughly 1,000 to 1,200 sailors are served, moving smoothly through cafeteria-style lines where food is portioned from heated serving trays, kept at safe temperatures by steam tables. The menu varies, but always includes a main entree, side dishes, vegetables, a salad bar, desserts, and beverages like milk, juice, or coffee. Bread and pastries from the ship's bakery are available daily. During especially busy operations, the galley also serves midrats, short for midnight rations, for those on night watches, offering leftovers and fresh-cooked meals to keep the night crew energized. Cleanliness and organization are non-negotiable. Every sailor is required to wash their hands before entering the mess decks, and food service personnel wear gloves and hair coverings at all times. After each meal, trays, dishes, and utensils are collected and sanitized in industrial dishwashers that can process thousands of items per hour. Waste is handled with care, compacted and stored until it can be properly disposed of according to environmental standards. The experience of eating aboard a carrier may not compare to dining ashore, but for sailors at sea, it is more than nourishment. It is routine, morale, and comfort. Every meal served is a reminder that even amid the roar of jet engines and the endless blue of the ocean, life aboard the carrier carries a rhythm of its own. Behind every plate served aboard an aircraft carrier is a dedicated team of culinary specialists, often called CSS, whose work sustains the ship's heartbeat day and night. These men and women begin their shifts long before sunrise, preparing breakfast for thousands and end long after midnight, cleaning and planning for the next cycle of meals. Their work rarely pauses, since at any given hour, someone aboard the carrier is either eating or cooking. A typical carrier galley operates with about 100 to 120 culinary specialists, supported by a rotating group of sailors assigned as temporary assistants, known as mess cranks. These helpers come from various departments and serve in the mess for several months as part of their duty rotation. Together, they handle the immense volume of food preparation, cleaning, and storage work needed to sustain the crew. Each culinary specialist has a role. Some focus on the bakery, producing bread, rolls, and pastries that fill the galley with the comforting scent of fresh dough. Others manage the main galley, cooking meats, vegetables, and starches in massive steam kettles and ovens. A smaller team works in the wardroom galley, preparing tailored meals for officers and senior leadership, often involving more complex recipes and careful presentation. The galley's leading petty officer supervises the day's schedule, ensuring every shift runs on time. Recipes follow the Navy Food Service Management System, which standardizes portions, ingredients, and nutrition. Supply clerks monitor inventory levels and request replenishment through the ship's logistics department, keeping a close count on every bag of rice, gallon of milk, and carton of eggs. Training for a culinary specialist begins at the Navy's Culinary School in Fort Lee, Virginia, where recruits learn everything from knife skills and baking to large-scale meal planning and sanitation. Once aboard a ship, experience quickly becomes the best teacher. Conditions at sea demand flexibility, since rough weather or delayed supply deliveries can alter meal plans instantly. Despite the challenges, most CSS take pride in their work, knowing that a good meal keeps morale high and energy levels steady. Their job extends beyond feeding the body. It provides comfort, structure, and a sense of normalcy for those far from home. When the flight deck is busy, the engines thunder, and the seas grow rough, a well-prepared meal in the mess hall becomes one of the few moments where sailors can relax and recharge. The culinary specialists, often unseen by most of the crew, remain essential to life aboard the carrier. Their dedication ensures that the city at sea never goes hungry and that every operation, no matter how demanding, continues without interruption. Food safety aboard the carrier follows the Navy Preventive Medicine Program, which establishes procedures for hygiene, temperature control, and inspection. Culinary specialists are trained to check temperatures during every stage of handling, from storage to preparation to serving. Any product that shows even the slightest sign of spoilage is immediately discarded. Random inspections by medical department personnel ensure these standards are always upheld. Even the water used in food preparation undergoes careful monitoring. The ship's desalination plant converts seawater into fresh water through evaporation and distillation, producing thousands of gallons daily. This water is regularly tested for purity before being distributed throughout the vessel, ensuring that food, drinks, and ice are safe for consumption. Backup systems exist for nearly everything. Should a refrigeration unit fail, others can absorb the load while maintenance teams perform immediate repairs. In extreme emergencies, perishable goods can be moved to alternate storage compartments until normal operations resume. Though unseen by most sailors, these systems and procedures ensure the carrier remains self-sufficient, even on deployments lasting months. Without them, the ship's operational endurance would be impossible. Safe food storage, reliable refrigeration, and meticulous sanitation keep the crew healthy, the mission uninterrupted, and the ship ready for anything the sea may bring. For many sailors, the mess decks are where the day begins and ends. They are places where laughter replaces the noise of machinery, where friendships are formed, and where stress briefly fades. A familiar taste, like chili mac, pizza, or freshly baked cookies, can evoke memories of family dinners or celebrations far away. This emotional bond with food helps sustain mental well-being in the high-pressure world of naval service. Leaders aboard the ship often recognize the link between good food and high morale. Commanding officers visit the mess decks regularly, not just to eat, but to connect with the crew, showing appreciation for the culinary specialists who keep everyone fueled and motivated. Ultimately, the ship's kitchen is not merely a place for cooking, It is a space of community and resilience. It reminds everyone aboard that even in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by steel and duty, there remains something profoundly human about sharing a meal together.
Very well, may I have some turkey if you please, sir?
Absolutely. Okay.
No, sir, thank you, no.
Okay, happy Thanksgiving. All right, you know mashed potatoes?
Yeah,
Pretty good. There you go. Oh, you're missing out.
Carrots, we have.
Ham too? Thank you. Jesus.
There you go, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I would love some stuff.
How many slices of ham?
Just half of that.
Just one piece of ham.